Character descriptions. The information you'd have to give to the cops if one of your characters committed a crime. I don't know about you, but for me, writing character descriptions is one of the trickiest parts of writing. And it's also one of the most important. While there's a lot of advice out there about not leading with character descriptions and not spending too much time on character descriptions, they are still very important. Knowing the physical details about how a character looks, what they dress like, and how they move will help solidify the character in your reader's mind. Getting your character descriptions right is critical to getting your story right. So with that, here are 5 things you need to make sure you do when describing your characters. I'll be following up this video on Friday with 5 things you don't want to do when describing characters, so make sure you don't miss that video. If only there was some way you could indicate that you want to be shown more content from this. Anyway, thing to do number 1 when describing characters: be brief. This applies across all types of descriptive passages that you'll write, but I would say it's even more important with character descriptions. In general, brief, strong descriptions are better than long, flowery ones that go on for pages and pages. The reader doesn't need to, and most of the time does not want to know every detail about what a character is wearing, how their posture is, their eye color, hair length, size of nose relative to eyes, length of fingernails, type and similarity of socks. An overlong description risks pulling the reader out of the story and may share more detail than they need. These types of descriptions also don't tend to do the next thing on the list that you should do. Thing to do number 2, go beyond the physical. I know we're talking about physical descriptions here, but if you play your cards right, a description can do a lot more. How a person dresses, how they walk, how they eat a mango are all going to be influenced by their past, what they do for a living, and what kind of person they are. You want to make sure that you leverage your descriptions to reveal as much of substance about the character as you can. A scar might indicate a troubled past. A fancy shirt might indicate their social and economic class. A fondness for Argentinian wine might indicate that they spent 2 summers in Buenos Aires. Use these types of details to your advantage, but make sure that they are relevant. Thing to do number 3, describe relevant details. What we notice about people depends on the situation we are in. Going into a character's past through their description is great if you can pull it off. However, if those elements aren't relevant, then it's a waste of time. Likewise, you want to make sure what you're describing is relevant based on what's happening in the story at that moment. This gets back to keeping descriptions brief, and how brief you will want to be is going to depend on where you are in the story. Slower paced scenes lend themselves to more time spent on description, whereas faster paced scenes probably do better with briefer descriptions. You need to consider not only what is happening in the story around the description, but also who is doing the describing. Thing to do number 4, tailor the description to the viewpoint character. This applies most prominently in first-person narratives, but also has the potential to affect third-person as well. Any description is naturally going to be biased based on who is doing the describing. You might think that you, the author, is doing the describing, but in reality, it's technically the viewpoint character. One great way to add some interest to your descriptions is through the addition of bias, specifically the bias from the viewpoint character. This is best when it's done in a subtle way, but describing things that a viewpoint character is likely to notice given their role and background in the story will not only enhance the description, but give you a chance to characterize the describing character as well. They might always be on the lookout for concealed weapons. They might notice when someone makes a fashion faux pas. They might be nuts about maintaining proper posture. They might find chewing gum disgusting. All of these things that a character notices and what they feel about what they notice is going to vary from character to character. And it's not just the other characters that can add some color to these descriptions. Thing to do number 5, tie the description into the setting. Unless your story takes place in a colorless void, your characters probably exist in and are interacting with a specific setting. If your story does take place inside a colorless void, then I suppose they would be interacting with that. Be sure to describe how the character interacts and fits into the setting when you're describing them. Do they seem out of place or very comfortable? Are they different from the other people around them, or do they fit right in? Are they someone that you would expect to see in such a place, or does it seem odd that they would be there? If you're relying on these types of mechanics to create conflict, then don't miss an opportunity to expand on that by working it into your character descriptions. Show how the setting is affecting or contrasting with the physical state of the character. Since you're using these elements to build conflict in the larger narrative anyway, it makes sense to show how the setting is affecting or contrasting with the physical state of the character. Just like I'm glad this video affected your physical state, because you sat here and watched it. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video and found the advice in it useful. If you want to see more stuff like this, you can check out all my other writing advice related videos and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every Wednesday and on most Fridays. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.